I used to think that fixing my mindset, changing my perspective was enough to be happy in life. That if I could just analyze things clearly, understand myself better, then I would be able to think the right thoughts and I could change. After years of therapy, I knew that controlling my external world wasn't the answer, but neither is changing your mind. Because no matter how much I knew, I kept repeating the same emotional loops, the same pain, the same patterns, the same stuckness. It wasn't until I sat in silence for 10 days, just observing the sensations in my body, that this deeper answer clicked in. Stick around because I'm going to walk you through the deepest root of transformation and how a 2,500-year-old technique called Vipassana cracks something open in me that nothing else could. Hi friends, I'm Kyle from Tenny Zen, and this is a deeper dive into the stuff that actually moves the needle in changing your life. So let's talk about the real root of change and why insight, self-awareness, and all of the personal growth in the world won't get you to where you want to go without direct experience. Because transformation doesn't just happen from thinking differently. It happens when you're willing to feel what's true in your body. There's a Buddhist teaching that I really like. There's 3 types of wisdom. The first layer is Sutta Mayapanya, which is basically like getting exposed to something. Maybe you read about it or hear about it, and now you have awareness that it exists. Another layer down into wisdom is Sinta Mayapanya, which is intellectual understanding. And so you can study and go deep, and you'll have this intellectual awareness, this wisdom around it. The third layer of wisdom is called Bhavana Mayapanya, which is from direct experience, wisdom from direct experience. Now, these first 2 are really useful. They help us make meaning and they help us to understand what it is, right? The third one, though, is what transforms us. We can read about fire. We can learn everything there is to know about fire. But until we experience fire, we don't truly know it. Any stove touchers in the room? Didn't really know that it was hot until we touched it, right? So we all have these places in our lives where we know better, but we end up not doing better. So what is that about? This is often because we haven't actually felt it yet. We haven't embodied the change that we're looking for. And that's because direct experience is the thing that actually changes our nervous system. It's the thing that changes our programming, our reality. Science actually tells us the same thing in a different language. So in 1952, Donald Glaser created this thing that he called the bubble chamber. That allowed us to see that the smallest building block of life is just energy in motion. So what this tells us is that at the core of everything, at the core of you, of the table, of the food that you're eating, if you look at the smallest building block of this existence, it is energy in motion, which means nothing is static. Nothing is staying still. Nothing is solid. Everything is actually just boiled down into this most fundamental level of a wavelet. So you are not a static object. You are in constant movement. And yet we get this idea that we are stuck sometimes, or at least that's how it feels, right? We say that we're stuck and life isn't going our way, but stuck is actually just an illusion. It's a perception. It's not truth, because the truth is that everything is always moving and always changing. So what's really happening here? When we feel like we're stuck, what we're doing is resisting that natural movement. We are avoiding discomfort. We're clinging to pleasure. We are rejecting what actually is. And this resistance is what feels like stuckness. It's not that we aren't changing. It's that we're fighting change. Mentally, emotionally, physically, we're resisting reality. When your mind and your body lock onto something with craving or aversion, you are causing yourself suffering. That suffering becomes a loop, and that loop is what we call stuck. And the crazy thing is that we're doing it to ourselves. Let's reverse engineer this. So if we just talk about life and how we get the results that we want in our life, right? Where do our results come from? Our results come from actions. We have to take an action, and then that creates a result in our life, right? Where do our actions come from? They come from our emotions. We might get inspired or excited, or we might take an action out of fear or anxiety. So we get an emotion, we take an action, and then we have a result that we experience in our life. So where do our emotions come from? Our emotions sprout out of our thoughts. We have an idea around something, and then we're reacting to that thought, and then we take an action and we have a result. So where are our thoughts coming from? They're coming from our programming in our unconscious mind. This is our conditioning, our emotional baggage, our belief system, our values that sprouts our thoughts, and we get excited or emotions of some level around it, and then we take an action and get a result. So this is where I used to think that it stopped. We just need to go back into the unconscious mind, into the programming, change the programming, and then naturally we'll have a different result. But there's actually another layer deeper. And that layer is sensation. Sensation is the very first thing that we experience. Before a thought arises, before an emotion arises, we have a sensation in our body. We feel something first. And our deepest unconscious programming, it's built on how we learn to react to those sensations. That's why deep change doesn't start in the mind. It starts in the body. Now, modalities like NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, or mental emotional release, or hypnosis, or even breath work. These things work so well because they help to bring us back into the body, into the experience. Vipassana takes this to the core. Like I said before, it's a 2,500-year-old technique, and it's the path that the Buddha used to become enlightened. And it's all about observing the sensations in the body with equanimity. Being equanimous means full acceptance. It's a neutral, peaceful allowing of what is. It's not fighting your experience. It's not grasping for more. It's not trying to change what is already here. That means no craving, no resistance, just presence. It means noticing a pleasant sensation and letting it go. It means noticing pain and letting it just be. Because all sensation is impermanent. It arises and it passes away. Just like a wave in the ocean comes up and goes right back into the ocean every single time. And when you stop reacting to that sensation and you just let it pass, you stop reinforcing the unconscious patterns, that stuckness that we talked about before. And that's when real transformation begins. So let me tell you a little bit about what that looked like for me. I just had a birthday recently, and for my birthday, I decided to do Vipassana, this 10-day silent meditation retreat. No talking, no reading, no journaling, just silence, meditation, 10 plus hours a day. And to be honest, it was challenging. When we started to get into the actual technique, I at first felt really good. Things clicked, it felt really natural, I felt confident, energy flowed, and then I hit this point where all of the hard stuff came up. My neck was on fire, and my upper back was screaming, and my legs were going numb, and it was difficult to stay focused, to say the least. The pain in my neck actually wasn't new. I have had it chronically for years now, and typically chronic unexplained pain like this is attached to some kind of emotion or some kind of baggage. And this particular pain actually started around the time where I realized I needed to get divorced. So I knew that there was some kind of emotional baggage that I needed to work on, and despite all of the tools that I have and everything that I've studied and practiced, like NLP, hypnosis, energy work, I was never really able to get it to go away. I was able to reduce it, but it always seemed to come back. So here I was, sitting in meditation with nothing to distract me, just me and my pain, and my mind, which is spinning out. And while my mind was losing it, I didn't try to fix anything. I just sat there and I observed, and I did my best to remain equanimous. This is when something started to shift. Through this practice, I didn't just think about impermanence, I felt it. I watched the pain in my neck rise, peak, and then dissolve away. I watched the pleasure come into my body and then watched it fade away. And I realized something that I have known intellectually for years, but I never really truly experienced it in my body. And that truth is that everything changes. Nothing lasts. This too will pass. And that truth is liberating. When I stopped clinging to the good, I was able to actually enjoy it. When I stopped resisting the hard, I stopped suffering on top of my pain. I saw how much of my life had been driven by craving and aversion. I gripped joy so tightly that it turned into anxiety. I shopped on Amazon for dopamine and felt nothing when it arrived. I feared love would leave so much that I never allowed myself to relax into it. And I realized something. In my body, I realized that I was creating my own misery through resistance, through fear, through forgetting the most basic law of life: impermanence. So, here's what I want to offer you. If you're stuck in a pattern, if you keep repeating the old loops even though you know better, try this. Don't think your way out. Feel your way in. Next time you're triggered, pause and take a breath and drop into your body and just notice your experience here. Ask yourself, where do I feel sensation? Just where is it? Notice what it feels like. And you can ask yourself, can I just sit with this sensation for a moment? Can I sit with it without judging or without trying to change it? That's the doorway. Just continue to explore the sensations in your body with equanimity, full acceptance, not trying to keep those sensations or not trying to resist or change them. If these ideas have resonated with you, I wrote a companion blog post on my blog Mentarium, where it breaks down all of this in written form, and you can just take it a little bit deeper. That's linked below if you want to dig in. And if you're in a place where you're ready to stop overthinking your growth and start embodying your transformation, take this as a sign to jump in. The world needs your gifts. Not your people-pleasing, not your living life as everyone else expects you to, and definitely not your staying safe and small game. Your unique perspective, your voice, your heart. You're the only one that can deliver it. It's time to show up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being willing to touch the fire. Give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, you're on the right path. You have your compass, and you already know the way.